think Jack needs me to have some elevation.
Yeah.
Okay, so this morning, actually this afternoon, we were able to finalize the actual curriculum. Are we rolling, Jack?
Yes.
Okay, we were able to finalize the curriculum, so I'll go through that and tell you exactly what you need to do in order to prepare for the academic side. And we're also going to go through the travel information, the requirements for comportment, which are very John specific, and then a list of help, like reaching out, and numbers to give your family people when you're traveling. So as you can see here, the course is called John Yoga, and it's now 6041, and you need to register for that. So just as you need to register for Buddhism, which will be taught by Dermot Walsh, you need to register for Jainism, which will be taught by Chris Chapple. So it developed more than 2,500 years ago, and it's best known for its emphasis, as we've talked about just in class now, on nonviolence. And it's also really well noted for its biocosmographical theories. And it graphs the human body, mapping it against the cosmos, and by reading the human body within that cosmos and reading that cosmos in the human body, there is said to be the potential and possibility of an elevation of one's consciousness and a purification of one's consciousness, leading to seeing one's true self. And unlike some other traditions, it's when you see this true self, it's you. You aren't combining with anything. You already have it. It's just been covered over. It's a very beautiful, very unique theology. And we're going to be learning its basic principles and practices and how they intersect with both yoga and with Buddhism. And the course will take place in India. And we will travel. So your learning outcomes, you're going to become familiar with the core teachings on karma, the soul, devotional practices and meditation techniques, and you will know the key historical phases of Jainism and how Jainism adapted the ideas of yoga throughout. So you'll be reading primary and secondary materials. Most of it will be primary materials. The secondary material will be at the very beginning and at the very end, as we will see. You're going to be living at Vallabh Jain Mandir, a Jain campus in Alipur, which is in North Delhi. And we're going to also travel, and you'll see as we go through, we're actually going to end up in Jaipur, and we're going to travel midway. And your job, okay, so this is what you need to do to complete the course. And everybody who does this course completes this course. It's impossible not to complete the course, and you have to go shopping. Woo! And you have to find a beautiful blank book, reflective of your personality. And then every day we have to write in that blank book. And what I will reiterate is what I want to see in that blank book is three things. One, that you've done the assigned reading. And you're going to hear this from me again and again and again. You have to demonstrate that you've done the assigned reading, that you've observed what's going on around you, and that you're going to be reflecting on this in a personal way. Okay? Every day you need to do those three things. And 1 to 2 pages, but you do it every day, and it's going to be, you're going to have a document that will serve you well. Then the required books, some of these, I think all of them you can pretty much get electronically. And the Yoga and Jainism one, which is just published, is so expensive that I'm going to see if there's a way. I have Kija working on it, but I think it's electronically in the library, and I'm going to see if you can download particular chapters, and that way Routledge still makes good on the fortune that they've charged the library.
Should we read all of these before the course?
No.
Okay. And would you prefer us
because you won't have time.
Would you prefer us to have it electronically and take the books with us, just for?
I don't care. I don't care. Either way is fine.
Is
It's
there
just
a
that.
better
there-
way? Like, is that better to take?
That's specific to how you want
Okay.
to travel. I can't read on the screen, so I had to
Yeah.
take all the books with me,
Okay.
but a lot of people chose to do it just for a lighter load.
Sorry.
So Jaina Sutras is the first one. It's the oldest surviving text, the one that we'll be reading, which is the Acharanga Sutra. Nonviolence to Animals, Earth, and Self is the second book listed here. It's the first book you will read. Reconciling Yogas, which includes a translation of Yoga Drishti Samachaya. That which is a translation of the Taparta Sutra. The Yoga Shastra, which is translated by Uli Kwanström. And then Yoga in Jainism with, there's about 4 different chapters in that book that you'll need to read. Okay, so we will be at the International Summer School for Jain Studies, and we'll be in Delhi and Jaipur, as well as visiting in Hastinapur and Ladnu. Hastinapur and Ladnu are intense practice places. Lots of temples in Hastinapur, a whole campus dedicated to, like a 100-acre campus dedicated to advanced studies of Jainism in Ladnu. And we'll be staying in temple complexes in Delhi and Jaipur. Program dates, June 26th to July 26th, so plan to arrive by Sunday. And then we'll have our orientation there with Dr. Shugen Jain. And then depart either the 16th or the 17th, or you could depart the 18th. But they changed the dates, they lopped off some dates, but if we end up and you have an extra day, you're going to know Delhi well enough that you'll have a wonderful time. Or you'll just sleep, I don't know. So you have to pay the tuition and include it in your course tuition of the room and board, all of your meals, which will be vegetarian, and all the travel, inland travel associated with the program. And then you can anticipate in your planning an equivalent tuition percentage scholarship unless you hear from me. And then the accommodations are twin shared rooms with Western facilities, meaning it's a toilet you can sit on. AC rooms in Delhi. If you want AC rooms elsewhere, you have to pay a little bit more. 3 vegetarian meals a day, and the travel is included. So you're working with David on your plane ticket, and remember you have to depart by the 24th to arrive on the 26th. I'll be working with Buddhism to make sure that you have, try to finish it up on that Monday, but I don't think we can do much better than that. And it normally ends on Wednesday. As I said, we'll try to wrap it up. And the Ramaswamy training is July 23rd to August 7th if you want to come back and study with him. Passport, you need to have. Medication, talk to your physician and tell them where you're going to be, noting time change, heat, etc. Vaccines, I'm going to let Carly talk about that a little bit, but please don't allow anyone to give you Lariam. Okay? It's not okay. Insurance, you're covered according to this website plan. And you also need to have assurance that your regular insurance will cover you in some way. And they give those recommendations, and review the travel insurance, because sometimes they include stuff. And hello? So your tourist visa, make sure you get a tourist visa, okay? Do not do a student visa. It will mess everything up. And consider the 10-year option. It's a little bit more money, but it lasts a lot longer. And I'm going to let Carly talk a bit about that. And then your contact person in India. Okay, so do you want to talk a little bit, and then we'll go in more detail into the course?
Yeah.
This is Carly Gaffey. I think you all know Carly.
Sure, just a couple things. So I've been bugging everyone on email, and I think I've met everybody. But so regarding your accommodation, you're all going to be receiving a Google form from Sushil Jana at ISJS, and it's going to be asking you to specify if you have any diet restrictions. I think they'll be asking specifically if anyone needs to be accommodated for a vegan diet. They'll also be asking if you would like to request a single room, which I think is an extra $12 a night, and then if you want AC in any of the other locations that will be, or that you guys will be traveling to, and then they'll give the price for that too. So it's a really easy Google form. The faster you turn it around, the more likely that you'll be able to be accommodated for those requests. It's a really big ISSJS summer program. There's 3 other programs that will kind of be overlapping with you as well, so the sooner that you can get those requests in, the more likely you'll be able to accommodate them. How's everybody doing on visa stuff? Done? Is anybody still, I know Jack's still enjoying it, the process. Are you still going through it too?
Yeah, I've been down for a while because it's so frustrating.
It's what?
It's just so frustrating. Like Jack, I've tried to apply it 3 times.
Have you?
Yeah, it's just a mess.
It's getting the one website and the other website to talk to each other.
Yeah. CKJS is the third-party system that ISSJS requested that I use last year when I started helping coordinate for the yoga program. It worked okay for us last year. It seems like there's a bit more bugs this year. So
I'm applying through Travisa outsourcing,
mhm.
and their service has been really good.
So Travisa is part of what CKJS uses for the online portion.
Oh.
And then they provide all the other documents and all the other instructions that you have to do and how you have to send it in. But I mean, the best advice I can give is to call up. I know I've said it before, but to get someone on the phone so they can give you specific instructions on the roadblock that you seem to be hitting.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem, is that it keeps getting cut off and then they don't have a record of my application. It's just like, yeah. It's been a
Maybe,
real...
That
maybe you could
sounds
sit with Carly and,
Yeah, it's been hard for me this year because I'm not inside an
Right,
application
right.
like I was last year.
yeah.
I can definitely try and help you. I mean, there are a couple of us. I think I had the hardest time with it last year just because like misspelled my name a couple of times and like did things like that. But I was someone who definitely struggled with the visa process the most, go figure. But you and I can talk a little after and try and make a plan. But everyone else is doing okay with it. There's still a lot of time, but it's great that everyone has it done. A couple more things to expect. Have you guys received an email from LMU Study Abroad yet?
No.
So you will be soon, and it's going to be going to your LMU email account. And it's simply just because they have to send all the material there, and it's just going to be some short videos that you all have to watch and a couple of forms that you have to sign that will allow you to study abroad through the university. It doesn't take that long. It's really useful information about traveling abroad, and it's about like the line code for LMU and the behavior that they expect of their students and things of that nature. And then,
Yeah, and about those videos, some of them will like, oh, this only pertains to undergraduates. But you're in a Jane context, so think of yourself as under 21, okay? In other words, don't drink, all right? Don't do drugs, don't mess up in any way, because, we want to be respectful of our hosts.
yeah, and you'll see that those behaviors being specified in the LMU study abroad material. You'll see it again in the help book that's in the back of this packet that Chris is going to go over, and you'll also see it again in an agreement form that you get from ISSJS that just specifies, since they are a different institution, specifies the behavior that they expect of their participants. And I think, as far as vaccines, I think, and especially it's just such a big conversation right now, right? And it's such a personal choice. So I just think educate yourself as much as you can. If you do have a doctor right now, like primary care, or you're able to see a travel nurse, I think that last year a lot of us consulted people individually and made that decision on our own as whether or not we were going to be vaccinated or not, or which ones we were going to receive or not.
Did you get Japanese Accommodations, or did you? That's like an optional one. I just didn't like. I don't even know what that is. I think it's
Yeah, that is on the CDC.
Did you get that, or recommended, or?
I personally, I personally don't think I got it. I think that recommending vaccines is a really tricky thing, and I don't think that it's language that like we should use because we can't. I just really you should
All right, so
should
just
talk
which
to your
ones
doctor
which
about
ones
it.
did you get?
Well, I actually used to work in a hospital system in Boston, so I had like a laundry list of stuff that I already have, so my decisions were made for me years ago as far as vaccinations to go. One of the big conversations is whether or not you're going to be proactive about anti-malaria medication, and that again is something to consider for sure. I think that a lot of the things that sort of, I mean maybe last year like half the people had it and half the people didn't. A lot of the things to consider are the side effects of the specific drug that you're considering taking. And so that's just, if you do decide to take it, or if you don't decide to take it, just consider all that stuff. And that's why it's best to talk about that with a medical professional. You know?
Can I ask you one more question?
Yeah.
How far in advance should you take these injections, if you are going to take them?
So they're all different, especially the malaria. Some of the stuff you have to take months ahead of time and months following. Some of the stuff you take on location.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just kind of a,
Throw a dart.
well, I know everybody has to be insured in some way to be at LMU. So if you just see a travel nurse, I know that Playa Vista Medical Health down at the bottom of the hill has a travel nurse there. It's just so helpful just to talk, especially if this is the first type of like big travel that you've done in a while, it's just so helpful just to sit and talk to someone.
I've never gone anywhere where I've been shot, so.
Yeah, so I mean, I would advise if you could just to go speak with someone. It's comforting, they're super informative, don't let them scare you. But yeah, anything else?
Oh no, I was just gonna ask the malaria thing. What sometimes people have done is that they will take the medication with them, and prescribe the doctors, making sure that it works for them. And then like if it affects them, they can take it after. But if it doesn't, then they don't have to take it. So
Yeah,
you can
and
also have it with you as like a backup, just in case. And that's worked for some people as well. If anybody wants to
Definitely.
do that.
And we definitely had some people that had that with them last year too. So it's just kind of one of the personal decisions as far as this travel goes. As far as landing, so anyone that lands that Saturday or that Sunday, ISJS will be coordinating different pickups from the airport. If you're landing that Friday or before, you'll be responsible for getting yourself to ISJS because you'll be traveling on your own before. I know that there's like zero time for you guys to be doing that, but this was something that came up last year. Just in case you are like taking a night in Delhi before you go to ISJS or anything like that. Sushil and I will be providing all the information that you need, but you'll also just be, once he gets all of your airfare information, he'll be creating like 3 or 4 different groups of pickups and giving you instructions of where to go when you land, what to do, who to meet, who to look for, and then the adventure begins. But all that information is on its way.
Does that also apply for the 6 week?
Yeah, he'll be doing that for each of the programs, because you go soon. Yeah. Yeah, so once, have you given him your airfare information yet?
No.
So as soon as you have your flight, just forward it to Sushil, and then he'll put you in a spreadsheet and then coordinate who you'll look for and where to meet them, and then he'll get picked up too.
Is the thing about having your passport valid through 2017, is that like a non-negotiable aspect of the visa process?
You have to have it valid through your dates of travel. So like, have it valid through the end of August, or the end of July. Obviously, I mean, I said 2017 in this packet just to be safe, so just in case someone didn't look down and see 2016 and it was February of 2016 and then we had a problem. But yeah, as long as you're cleared through your dates of travel, your visa can be processed, as far as I've been informed.
Yeah. I just don't want to have to extend my passport on again.
Yeah, I imagine that you have some extra fun stuff.
You could ask us to send our passport information off to the gentleman you mentioned.
Yes.
We have already supposed to have heard back from him.
If he had received it?
Would he automatically be responding to us?
I don't think so. I didn't pick up on him sending out responses. If he hadn't received yours, he would have bothered you many times by now. So I was copied on you sending yours, I believe. So if you haven't heard from him, he's received it. And the reason that he asked for that is because for their own records, but also they have to use that information to book the train tickets.
So with respect to traveling internally, if you arrive on that day and coordinate it with their schedule, then does that happen once after a certain date they'll connect or reach out to us?
Because you're waiting to hear, you want to coordinate with Sushil because you're already going to be in India and you'll be flying from somewhere else to Delhi, right?
Correct.
So ideally, if you were to arrive at some point, like you could arrive anytime between like Saturday evening and like noon on Sunday the next day. If you wanted to plan on arriving that Sunday morning, landing in Delhi, that might be best for you, like the easiest travel time for you. And then as long as you're there by Sunday afternoon, you're not going to miss anything.
Okay.
So anytime between, anytime Saturday and.
So go ahead and book the flight and then send
Yeah.
it to him and then he'll respond.
Yeah,
Okay,
But he's gonna wait till he has a bundle of people.
got it.
yeah, and that more approaching, like during the Buddhism course, and within like the 4 or 6 weeks leading up to the date of departure, that's when you'll receive more of that like super detailed information of who's gonna pick you up and things like that. But go ahead and book your flight because I know that you've probably been waiting. So you can go ahead and book your flight and then just let him know.
Okay.
As long as it's in that time frame, you'll be all set.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
Should I have already emailed him? I have my flight, I just haven't emailed information.
You can just forward it to him.
Okay.
And if you want to copy me on that email, I'll just check off that you've done that.
Okay.
Cool. Good.
Okay, so when we get there, you're gonna wake up at 3 in the morning for the first week or 10 days. And eventually, you'll start waking up later. But in the beginning, what we've been doing is assembling on the roof when you awaken, which is anywhere, 4 or 5, once you get up and you realize, oh no, I really am not going back to sleep. And we've been doing yoga on the roof together outside when it's still relatively cool, okay? And watch the sun come up through the mist. And then we have breakfast. And the way that we program this is that we do the lectures in the morning so that you can nap, because you're going to need that nap in the afternoon, and get your reading done, because you have to be reading and writing every single day. So the first meeting, the gathering, will probably be later on that first Sunday when Dr. Shugan Jain will meet with us and talk with us. And then on Monday and Tuesday, on the 27th and the 28th, he will lecture on Jainism and lecture on the path of purification. And during that time, I'd like you to read first the first half and then the second half of the book, Non-Violence to Animals in Earth and South and Asian Traditions. Then I'll take over, and we will have group processing of Acharanga Sutra materials, which will be the yamas of yoga, but as expressed and very specifically through Jainism, and we will get our first introduction to the biocosmology in that material. Then that Friday, we're going to meet with Kamala Jain, who was a professor of Jainism for many, many years at Christ College at Delhi University. And we'll be at the old Staniswasi temple. It's very historic, and she just has great stories to tell about it. It's the temple where she grew up. We'll also go to the Gurdwara, and we will get a crash course in Mughal history and in Aurangzeb's persecution of Guru Tegh Bahadur, which is commemorated in this particular Gurdwara. We'll go to the Digambara temple, which is quite magnificent with many, many beautiful images, and to the bird hospital, which is a Jain rehabilitation center for birds and some other animals. And we'll also go up to Jama Masjid, which is the largest mosque in Asia. Then on Saturday, we'll be back for our 9 o'clock morning lecture. on Jain cosmology, and we'll work on the Tavarta Sutra, working with Jain cosmology. So read the first half of that, which is. And then on Sunday, we will have all of you take turns teaching, a morning asana class, and then I'll probably wrap it up a little bit with giving sort of an extended meditation on Jain cosmology vis-a-vis meditation practice as delineated in the Tavarta Sutra. The next morning, we're going to start an overnight trip, July 4th, to Trilok Tir, which is this magnificent, huge temple, many stories high. And then we'll move from there to Hastinapur, where we'll visit several temples that build out this cosmography in a way that you will come to appreciate. And then after that overnight Monday and the tour of the temples in the early morning, we'll return to Delhi. Then on Wednesday, we'll start in earnest with Jain Yoga in comparative perspective, and you'll be asked to read Reconciling Yogas Part 1, and then Reconciling Yogas Part 2. So you'll probably want to bring the books so that you can read a little bit at night, you can read a little bit in the morning while we're on that trip. They're not terribly long, but there's also an article called The Jain Yogas of Haribhadra's Yoga Bindu that we will probably PDF for you or see if you can link and download from the library copy. And then we've been invited that Thursday afternoon to participate in a seminar on ahimsa in various religions with the Teaching for Peace group. And by that time, you probably will be able to keep your eyes open in the afternoon. Then the next day, we go into Delhi, and the Mahatma Gandhi Museum is amazing, really wonderful. And we'll visit some other Jain sites, including we'll have dinner at a beautiful museum called Samskirti. And then on Saturday, we have two leading art historians that will talk about Jain art from the perspective of Jain cosmology. And we'll ask you to read the Yoga Shastra Part 1. Then on Sunday, there's a major event at India International Center, which is one of my favorite places in India. It's in South Delhi, and it just is it's a beautiful auditorium. I love to go to concerts there. They have a great gathering place, and I usually run into professors from other professional walks of life while I'm there, which is just fun. And then on Monday, we will work with the yoga of the Yoga Shastra, and in the afternoon, we'll have a lecture on that in the morning, so finish reading the Yoga Shastra. In the afternoon, we're going to go to this great bookstore called Motilal Banarsi Das, and they will actually ship things at minimal price for you home, so you don't have to carry them. But it's a very historic Jain bookstore and a wonderful publisher. And then we take a night train to Ladnu. We settle in at Jain Vishwabharati, and we will have instruction on Preksha Dhyan. And there's two articles about Preksha Dhyan in the Yoga and Jainism book that I'll ask you to read. And then while we're there, I want you to read an article in preparation for a lecture by Professor Sagani on Jain Yoga and Mysticism. And we will complete our studies of Preksha Dhyan, which is a very specific Jain form of yoga. And then we'll go to Jaipur very early, and once we arrive, we'll have a lecture by Professor Kusan Jain, and then a lecture by Professor K.C. Sogani. And again, reading, these are your last reading assignments, 2 chapters, one by John Court, Exquisite, and then my final chapter, which is a reflection on what we will have experienced together in various ways. Then Friday morning, we're going to do a heritage walk so you can learn the history of Jaipur from the inside of the gates of the walled city. And then we'll also visit Jaipur Foot, which has fitted 1 million people with prostheses, really inspiring. And then we'll sleep again in Jaipur. And then we'll leave on Saturday morning back to Delhi. And you can either get something out late Saturday night or early Sunday morning, or if you want to stay over, by that time you really know how to get around Delhi. If your flight's out on Monday, that's fine too. But, any question about?
Just for the ones going on the Kashmir trip, you would just stay.
Then you can just stay until that other thing hooks in. And then more description here, 1 to 2 page handwritten summary of your reflections on the lectures, reflections on the readings, how it relates to your experience. Get a beautiful blank journal. And you're encouraged to start your course reading on the long flights to India. And you can either carry your books or read them electronically. And here, really important is keep your shoulders and upper arms covered. This includes men also, because we had this one guy who just kept on showing up in his tank tops, and everybody was like grossed out by him. So, yeah, so, just cover your body. No tank tops, nothing that will like draw attention. Loose-fitting pants are appropriate. And make sure that your shoes and sandals are sturdy, because you're going to take them off a lot and put them on a lot. And have a backup pair just in case, because I've had people in their shoes break and it's a problem.
Or they disappear.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that can
Example.
happen. It happened to you?
Yeah.
Where did it happen to you?
You guys aren't staying there this year, but it happened in Badagon.
Badagon?
I have not been able to say that word for 2 weeks.
I know, Badagon.
Yeah.
Right.
So just happened
Really?
back.
There, it happened to you there?
Yeah, it was raining, so I'm sure it just was like a hectic mistake, but it was like the funniest thing to deal with. Because we were all like, we didn't pack any extra shoes.
Yeah. So what did you do?
I think I hooked it back, like we just, I don't remember.
But she has shoes on now, so.
Yeah. But I added that little bit in this year.
So try, to not bring leather. And with men, a button-down shirt or a golf shirt is most appropriate. And women, this is so important, and even for Mayuri, is that you just got to tie your hair back because it's really so obvious that when your hair isn't tied back, it's just too many, what do you call them? Unwanted male attention. Okay. Health. Again, we went through this. Again, I'm re-emphasizing, do not bring larium. It will cause hallucinations. And if your stomach goes for more than one day, let me know, because this happened to me, and I had giardia, and I went, like, the next day, I couldn't get out of bed. I'm really, like, if I'm sick, if I don't feel well, I don't, like, the world is not good, okay? So I got myself to a doctor. It was incredible. They gave me this great stuff. I was back on my feet within a day, and we have all those great connections for that stuff. So pack smartly and pack lightly, and leave enough room for all the stuff you're going to be given, and leave room for stuff that you want to buy. You need an adapter plug. You need a lightweight travel towel. Okay, towels are like, I don't know why, but they just aren't part of what people do in India. You could bring a travel yoga mat, insect repellent, sunscreen, basic Band-Aids, antibiotic cream, a collapsible umbrella. Hopefully the monsoons will come. I would bring a light sheet because it's not always there. Maybe a small travel pillow. Sometimes I have a really sensitive neck and head, and sometimes they're like this thick and they're like a brick, and I like mine like non-existent. So I don't really travel with a pillow, but I'm reminding myself I probably should. Make sure you bring a hat, particularly if you're bald like me. Bring your favorite snack bars, because for those first 10 days when you're waking up at 3 in the morning, you're going to get really weirdly hungry at strange times. And it's good to have something just to eat. There's always snacks available in the kitchen, but you may not like them, right?
Yeah, there's like little biscuits and like savory snacks and tea.
Yeah.
But it's, if you have a kind bar, it can be like so comforting sometimes.
Yeah. But remember, it's really hot, so chocolate isn't the easiest thing to travel with unless it's covered with something. Small laundry bag might be nice. You can get your laundry done there. They don't do underwear, so you have to wash your underwear out in your own little bathroom. And not a bad idea to bring a little bit of laundry detergent. I just usually use my shampoo, but anyway. It's already here. Intimates are not accepted, yeah. Be prepared for rain, but it doesn't matter if you get wet because it's really hot anyway. And you feel like, oh, fun. Be prepared for heat. Be vigilant in regard to any water other than or other beverage. So, yeah, meaning that make sure that you have, bottled water with a cap on it, and we'll figure that all out, right? And even for brushing your teeth. And hot tea is always safe.
How do you do a neti pot then?
You have to use your filtered water.
But then how do you heat it up? There's like no way
I
to,
think the people that, there were a couple of people with a regular neti pot practice last year, and
Yeah.
they just used warm water, because it's always warm with the saline solution.
like warm water from the tap? No.
Yeah, because there's
It's filtered water with
Oh, it
a
is.
hot.
there's filtered
it is,
water, like
okay.
hot
Filtered
always
water.
to make tea.
Oh, perfect, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so they just
Okay.
kind of did that system
Yeah, perfect,
right in
okay,
there.
great.
Yeah.
Did you bring masks?
Some people last year did choose to bring masks, and they did use them. And I actually just came across a picture of like 5 of the women who brought masks. So that's again just something that you might want to consider. You definitely will notice the difference in air quality, especially when you're in the midst of Delhi. Yeah, so you can look into them. Amazon has a lot of different ones.
And so if you're bringing your own books, you really don't need to bring a laptop. You can go SIM computer.
You can,
Yeah.
sure.
Okay. And for your phone, did you guys do something so that you could, or did you just?
So phone is another thing that you're going to be receiving an email from Sushil, hopefully sooner than later, just to try, so everyone can start trying to figure that out. My Sprint plan, India is one of the countries where I get some data that I already pay for. So first and foremost, call your provider and see if that is a thing. I had no idea it was a thing for all the years that I've been traveling, and I just realized it, that I've been paying for international data. So call and find out if your phone works abroad, if you do get a plan, if you do have anything included in what you already pay. If not, Sushil can pick up SIM cards for everyone, which are fairly inexpensive. I think the most we paid last year was like $15, and you can add minutes to that. You might be interested in just picking up like a small flip phone too. That might be a better option. It all just kind of depends. There are certain iPhones that SIM cards fit into, and there are certain like smartphones that don't have them. So that's stuff that I just asked him this morning to make like a really detailed sheet of all the information that he has, so that then you can kind of plan accordingly. But first call and find out, because a lot more of us than we thought had access to data, which was nice.
Okay, take it away.
Take it away. On the handbook?
Yeah.
Well, sure. So in the last part of this packet is the ISSJS help book. So this is their, everything preceding this has been sort of the specific yoga studies details, nuts and bolts, course syllabus, guidelines. And this is specifically provided by ISSJS, and they ask us to go through it with you all, so that since you will be ISSJS students, that you know all this information. Some of this stuff we've already touched on. They start with dress guidelines. Pretty much dress so that you're comfortable, but also dress modestly, as Chris mentioned. You'll be visiting a lot of different temples, speaking with a lot of monks and nuns, so you want to be covered, comfortable, and just dressed modestly. Government.
What's formal dress? I mean, what's formal dress there? What does that mean?
What's formal dress?
Like a dress?
I guess like a sari.
So when do we have an opportunity to buy that?
Well, you'll be going into Delhi within the first couple of days of your stay, right?
Because it seems like we're waking up, school, reading and studying? Is there time in that to make trips?
Well, I
to-
recommend, actually, because it's quite exhausting and overwhelming to strike out on your own, in particular if you're going to be jet lagged in the beginning, is that just make the most of the provided we're going into the city a lot. We're going in like 3 or 4 times. And I would like treat the rest of it like a retreat. What happens is that some people just get all swept up in the shopping mania, and then they fall behind on their reading, and then I'm chasing them around, and their journals are like, I can tell from their journals they're not doing the reading, and you know, they're in school. You know, you can, you know, wait, you have some time at the end, you know, so I'm not saying you can't go, but what I'm saying is that you aren't going to need to go.
And so if you do, there will be some afternoons that you have free and you might decide that, like, as part of a group you want to go. There's a free day too, free to go explore Delhi, or some afternoons that if you do have your readings and your journaling done, as a group you can go explore in the city. So everyone before you go, you'll just be putting, you want to have Sushil and, is Naveen your coach?
Yeah.
Okay. Someone in your group should have access, or will probably have a phone plan, and if you, for some reason you're getting back past 10 p.m., you have to let them know, because of the guards at the gate and stuff, but that is just something, there is a semi-strict curfew instated at ISSJS. They're understanding if something happens, or if there's insane traffic, which there is, and things like that, but you do want to take down these numbers before you do anything like that, or just like communicating with Sushil and Naveen really, really well about your whereabouts, because they'll be concerned and want you to have a good time, be safe and stuff. On this
And by
page-
formal dress, you don't need to wear a sari.
No,
It just means that you want to have a nice blouse and loose pants.
Okay.
because it's going to be so hot that you'll want to wear like a tank top and shorts, but that's what we mean by having your shoulders covered, not too low of a neckline, having your knees covered.
Hey, can men wear longer shorts? Like, that are like slacks on, no, pants?
Pants, loose pants, yeah.
There are no, so the breakfast and lunch times and dinner times we've already gone over. Sundays, only breakfast is served, but I believe by the schedule that doesn't pose any type of,
I think we're
you
on
guys are
every
together
Sunday.
every
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah.
A few times in here, again, you'll see the behavioral things that ISSJS asks is that you adhere to a vegetarian diet the entire time that you're a student with them. So not ever bringing anything, meat products, back onto campus if you do go into the city at all. No alcohol consumption while you are an ISSJS student, and it's really best to adhere to that guideline from the moment that you start the program to the moment that you end. So you will have free days and free time, but since you will be representing ISSJS, you're going to be a Jane student, you really want to try to adhere to those values out of respect to the people that you're learning from. So it's best, no smoking, no drugs, no drinking. That is totally in your best interest for sure. Visiting temples. Do you have anything about specific etiquette for that?
Don't point your feet toward someone of respect, okay? Like, you got that?
You mean like when you sit, just don't
Right.
put your feet up?
Exactly, yeah.
Also asking, and Naveen was really good about this beforehand, knowing when it's appropriate to take photos. So checking in before you just start snapping away, which you will totally want to do because we all took thousands of pictures last year. But just kind of looking for his nod and the other ISSJS representatives that you're with to just let you know that it's all right. And again, just to kind of be aware of not disrespecting the places that you're visiting. No leather. Visiting the families, you don't really do that.
Yeah, and then please avoid personal questions or getting too close to individuals, and don't flirt, don't hug people, you know, stuff. There's just this distance that you want unreserved that would be expected here.
I'm not familiar.
Right, thank you.
Familiar. And that's also something too that you want to watch out just a little bit with each other too. Just kind of again, being respectful of kind of the norm there, even though you might, all of us were like really chummy by the time we went last year, so, just keeping a respectful distance even from each other, but, yeah. So just keeping that in mind as you behave as a student.
The internet works sometimes.
So there are internet times at ISSJS. There's an allotted time, an hour or two in the morning, and then an hour or two in the evening. The trick is the more people that are on it, the slower that it is. So you kind of get good at judging those times. There are some days where a lot of the programs will be overlapping, so which is really cool because you get to meet all the teachers that have traveled there for the Teaching for Peace program and the other people that are studying, and Anna will be there, and means more people are probably trying to use the internet, so just be really patient. Also, too, being respectful that when you do get on, if there are a ton of people that are wanting to use the internet, getting on, emailing your loved ones, doing the things that you need to do or the things you want to get done on the internet that day, and then logging off so that there's space for someone else to hop on. We didn't have a ton of days last year where it was very frustrating, but there's a couple moments where your Western self really wants some high-speed internet and really wants it right that second, and it might not happen. You can purchase a dongle, it's called, which is a personal MiFi system, which Sushil can also provide more information on that. I'm not sure how expensive that type of purchase is up front. I think it was out of my price range, so, but I can find out more about that for you guys, for anyone that has kids or anything like that that might really want that option to be more in touch more often. But, yeah, it's not so bad. And it's kind of nice. A lot of us, at first it's kind of shocking to not have your phone and your thumbs just start doing things on their own and you realize how attached you are to that device. But it's really nice. A thing a lot of us have said too about the Jane program, we took so much from it because we got to only be that for those 3 weeks. None of us were working at our other jobs and weren't constantly on our emails and always available and weren't, had all of our different types of distractions and things like that. So we got to just sort of be really present, and I think we learned a lot and we remembered a lot and took a lot from the program for that reason. So it's really nice in a way.
And the world was okay when you got back, right?
What?
And the world was okay when you got back?
It didn't even miss me, so it was fine. All was well. This is sort of more specific to the 6-week people. Health, prevention is better than a cure. Yeah, and a lot of us last year, between all of us, we had just sort of a big pharmacy. We had a couple of people who were very sound in Ayurvedic preventions last year, so they were who we went to for certain ailments, and I think between all of us we had every type of anti-nausea tablet, all of that type of thing that can be really helpful. So as you get closer to the trip, it can be nice. I think that last year we even started a Google Doc, just making sure that we had everything that might be needed. But our group was a lot, you guys are a lot calmer going into this. For some reason last year there was a ton of fear and panic going into India as far as the physical part. Everyone just was I'm gonna get so sick. And we really, for the most part, we were a healthy bunch. So, but it's not a bad idea to check in with each other the closer that you get to travel, just to make sure you got everything you need.
Are you able to have Arun come in, Dr. Chapple, to have Arun Deva?
I haven't arranged it. Is he going to be in town? Do you know?
As far as I know, yeah. I don't know when you're.
Yeah, remind me
about doing
again,
that.
because
Okay.
it's going to fall out of this month.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want to say anything more about number 10, sexual harassment or anything?
Number 10. So you will be receiving, regarding sexual harassment, other disciplinary issues, the no alcohol consumption, no drug consumption, things like that, you'll be receiving a separate document in the weeks to come that ISSJS and the Yoga Studies Department will ask you to review carefully and sign off in agreement to. And it will specify the things that we've already talked about, alcohol and drug consumption, having appropriate relationships with the faculty and the staff, and being really mindful of flirtation and things that ISSJS asks everyone to be really careful of. Yeah. Do you have anything you want to add? I think.
Any
I have a
questions?
question. What about like, I guess if feminine hygiene products, we should just be prepared for all that? Like,
Yeah, so that's definitely something that will be difficult to purchase there. So you'll just have, I advise just being ready, Girl Scout ready to act,
Yep, got it.
for sure.
What about cash? Do we bring in money and then if there's ATMs, we use that if we need them, or?
So when you get the Google form, you're going to be specifying, like I said, if you want to pay extra for a single room, or if you want to pay extra for any of AC options when they're extra. Everybody gets it in Delhi, but the other locations you might have to pay extra for. If you do decide to pay for any of that, Sushiel's going to send you an email asking you that you show up with US dollar to pay that exact fee. So that will be a reason that you're going to want to have cash on you. I think that it was easiest for us in India, and I do this every time I travel, is I take out money at the airport right when I get there, and I take out more at a time so that I don't accrue fees from my bank. You're not going to need, all the cash that you decide to spend while you're on the trip is really up to you. So it'll just be anything else that you want to buy while you're traveling, purchases that you want to make.
But are people mostly taking cash, like if you went and got something, or mala beads or whatever, or are they taking a credit card?
Well, any type of street shopping or anything
Yeah.
like that, you'll want to have cash. But most of the stuff you do with the program, credit cards are taken. But I say both.
Okay.
For sure, because you just don't know like where this adventure is going to take you. So as far as what you're personally going to want to do, like on your free days and stuff like that. So I say before everybody goes, let your credit card company know, your bank
Yeah.
know that you'll be traveling abroad, so you don't get shut down, and then you have to do that awesome process of
Yeah.
telling them that you are abroad and proving that it's you, and having cash on you at all times. I would feel most comfortable having taken those steps. One of the things that, like just a couple tricks of the trade that I think last year we would do more of is the group yoga class. We did that towards the end of our stay in Delhi, and it was so much fun. So we had like you get an entire lecture time where you get to share in a practice, and so everyone goes up for a few sequences or a few moments, and you just do this round robin teaching practice, and we talk about it all the time. It was such a nice break, and it just was awesome. And so a lot of us have said that if we were going to do this again, we would have done that more often on the roof when it's nice and cool in the morning, and taught each other. And it's just this cool group bonding thing, and that would be something that I would say do more of.
On the second section, it talks about leaving your room open for cleaning in the morning.
That is optional, pretty much. They don't do it every morning. They come in and do your floors and bedding and like empty out your trash can and stuff. Some of us opted to do that last year on our own, just because. But that you can kind of take that day by day. Because if you're not comfortable, leaving certain things in your room, that would just be, yeah.
Is India a country where you can haggle for a price, or do you have to pay the price in it?
Oh no, you can try if you're good at it.
Some countries can haggle.
I'm just like so bad at that.
Yeah, definitely try. Yeah.
John
They'll usually
used to
start
do-
at least 3 times the true value.
Yeah. John, our Buddhism teacher last year gave some like wise words on that to us, and he put it more eloquently than we did, but not haggling like so low that you feel, because like we get so much for our dollar, so you don't want to feel like you're getting ripped off, but you also don't want to feel like you're ripping anyone off, so you just kind of play that by ear. I forget how he put it, it was better than that, but
Yeah.
A win-win.
but yeah, but I mean, you'll definitely get approached with some prices that are far out, but you'll flex that muscle. you'll get better at it by the time you leave. I'm still bad at it, but.
Okay, Maya, you ready first?
Oh, no, just for the credit card, I know that Bank of America does this, and a couple other banks do this too, where if you just apply and get a travel credit card, they have no fee for using it internationally.
Nice.
So I have one with Bank of America, so basically you can use that card anywhere in India, and the foreign fee won't apply, it'll just be the same charge as it would be in the
I think
States.
I did, yeah, and they also have a lot of banks now in the app. You can go on without even having to speak to a representative. You can go on and answer your security codes and just give them your dates of travel.
And Citibank for sure does this as well, like you can transfer money for free because of the Citibank in India if you have a Citibank.
Yeah, and I'll send out a bunch of reminders for that stuff before you guys leave because it's just such a bummer when you forget and you get your card shut off while you're somewhere.
Mm-hmm. It's happened to me.
Me too.
My question is with respect to valuables, do you recommend that we keep them on us at all times, or are we safe to leave them in the compound in our room, including passport? Is that something to even consider?
I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that for you. I think Sushil would take on things, like an ISJS worker would take on things that you would want to have locked somewhere, but I'll ask. Will you send me an email and remind me, and I'll forward it to him?
And then I have another question. I assume we're going to be encountering impoverished areas and interacting. So is there some type of donation set up through these programs, or
This is a really good question, and one that we're going to approach with a little bit, because the answer is no, right?
Yeah, and that was something that, again, like as our group was reflecting last year, on a lot of us wish that we had a way, or that we had given back to the Jane community. And so that's an opportunity that I'm personally working on for everybody this year, just whether it's on like the grounds of where you're staying at New Delhi, or I can definitely talk to you because I know you have so much experience in that area, but you're treated so great while you're there, and they treat you like a celebrity and give you all these great things, and just an opportunity to give back is awesome. And you'll probably...
Yeah, Jack Foot, and this is something, because we were so moved by it, maybe your class would want to do a fundraiser before we go to Jack Foot.
Yeah.
So that we could give some money to them.
Yeah, Jack Foot is it's a very inspiring experience, and it's intense.
Yeah, that's right at the end.
With respect to the books on the list that we can get through you,
Yeah.
do we just knock on your door and they're available, or do we?
No, they're not available through me. What we're going to do is, what we will do is, we're investigating downloads, and the articles specified can be gotten through the library copy that they can be downloaded. But no, I don't have copies of them anyway. So they've all been ordered from the bookstore.
So all the books are available either online or at the bookstore?
Yeah, some of them, like a chunk of them, the sutras in the public domain, so you can just go on Google Books and download it. Okay, I think we're really beyond. But thank you all for your attention, and it's going to be really exciting.